Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me is co-host Andre Doc Mendes. Well, Doc, boy, what a weekend have we had. There's been some surprise results. Well, we'll say surprise results based on how teams have been playing in the first 2 weeks, then end up with defeats this week. But, let me just quickly run down the scores from the weekend. And it was down at Lords and St. David's. Southampton Rangers beat St. David's by 5 runs. Southampton Rangers were all out for 134, with St. David's all out for 129. Bailey's Bay defeated St. George's Cricket Club by 51 runs. Bailey's Bay were all out for 206, and St. George's were bowled out for 155. Up at the Somerset Cricket Club, Willowcut won by 3 wickets over Somerset Cricket Club. Somerset scored 231 all out, with Willowcut replying with 234 for 7. Then in the first division, Cleveland County won by 3 wickets over PHC. PHC scored 201, with Cleveland replying 202 for 7. Devonshire Recreation Club went down by 6 wickets out at the Rec against Western Stars. Western Stars, chasing 193, scored 194 for 4. Then we take a look at yesterday's matches. It was Devonshire Recreation Club winning by 35 runs over PHC. Devonshire Recreation Club were bowled out for 151 up at the PHC Stadium, but then PHC were bowled out for 116. And then, of course, in the Central County Cup competition first round, Western Stars defeated Tough Dogs by 8 wickets. Tough Dogs were all out for 153, and Western Stars scored 157 for 2. But let's start off, Doc, with that first match. I guess one would call the game of the week. Bailey's Bay against St. George's down at Seabreeze Oval. Surprised by the end result?
Yeah, most definitely, bro. Surprised. Looking at St. George's team, and the results from last week, they scored over 300 runs.
Right.
And then this week here, they struggled to make 150. So it goes to show you, just look like anybody could beat anybody in the Premier Division now. It's just a crazy league. I mean, Rangers, who thought Rangers would win against St. David's, for scoring 130. So it looked like this week it was the batsmen that failed. And it seemed like the bowlers must have listened to our show last week about the bites and the balls, because it was a lot of interesting results.
Sure.
Already.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, we did last week talk about those wides. In the St. George's inning, chasing 206, Bailey's Bay only bowled 7 wides, giving up a total of 15 extras. But the talk of the game has to be Mikal Walker taking 7 wickets in that St. George's inning. He finished with figures of 10 overs, 2 maidens, 7 for 38. And Doc, what was interesting about it, he took the first 5 wickets in Tamiko Wilson, Arunde Bascom, Rodney Trott, Freddie Gibbons, and Alan Douglas. He claimed their wickets, putting them all back in the pavilion. And at that time, St. George's was 61 for 5. Deep trouble. Big bats back in the pavilion.
Yeah, that's very deep trouble. If you look at the batsmen he got out, Tamiko scored a century last week. Arunde returning, and of course, Alan Douglas, is explosive of any game. So that was 3 peak batsmen right there. And of course, Trady made some runs yesterday Satu Khan. So he must have been building really good.
Yeah, I mean, 1 ball for Trady. 1 ball. LBW.
And also he got a Rodney Trott too, and Rodney's not no slouch of the bed either.
Right. So, I mean, look at it. At 51 runs. I mean, as you said, St. George's last week played up Somerset, scored over 300 runs on Somerset's wicket. And now you go to a quote-unquote smaller field and you struggle to get 155. I guess we've got to go back to details. Got to go back to the basics. You can't underestimate anyone because it only takes one ball
Yeah,
to get out.
yeah, and that's right. And like I said, if you minimize the whites
Hmm.
and you like I said, we talked about it last week, building at one side of the field,
Hmm.
building to a game plan, and hurling your catches. That's one good way. I don't care what team it is. If you do that, then you got a good chance of winning. Every
Sure.
minute.
Interestingly enough, St. George's gave up 26 wides
See,
compared
that's
to
what it is.
from Bailey's Bay.
See, and that's if you think about that, that's like almost three or four extra overs right there.
Yep.
And then how many runs they scored off that too. So it could have been St. George's could have been chasing maybe 160, 170
Hmm.
if they would have didn't give up too many wides. But like I said, it's going to be very interesting this year. Like I said, everybody's beating everybody, so um, it just goes to show you can't underestimate none of the teams now.
None of the teams. Yeah,
Even
you have.
even in the first division,
Hmm.
the results it's like just you look at the teams like you can't say this week you're going out and beat them. You need to go out there with a game plan and try to stick to that game plan. So and that makes it good for the season because you don't want to be good. It was years ago. I'm talking about not even years ago. Maybe even last season, a few years ago, you just said, oh, well, if I'm playing this team this week, that's points. We're
Hmm.
going to win. But you can't say that. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't say that. And this season, it's proven. It's proven it already with some of the
Yeah.
results already.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, let's move further east because down in Lords and St. David's, as you said, Southampton Rangers defended 134 and beat St. David's by 5 runs, building them out for 129. A team that scored that got a victory over Bailey's Bay last week, chasing down 192. They must have felt confident, but again, one ball and it could change the entire complex of a game, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, if you look at the fact that Rangers were they won the toss and decided to go to bed. Um, they would score. They would score that 134 with Dion Stubble opening the bet, and he got 27. Gennaro 24. There was a few others in double figures, but again,
Yeah,
okay. So St. David's only gave up 8 wides, 20 extras, 7 leg buys and 5 buys. But they limited their wides. But then you turn around and Southampton Rangers were able to defend that total. They gave up 20 wides, 31 extras, and still ended up winning the game.
yeah. And that's interesting, isn't it? That
Yeah,
that was almost probably the highest score,
yeah,
the extras. But that
yeah.
goes to show you, Rangers has got a team where they got some young ones there now and experience of like Dion, Gennaro, a few of the other experienced players that in the team, guys that have
Right.
played a little while. So you can't underestimate Southampton Rangers either. Um,
Mm,
sometimes those low scores are hard to get,
yeah, yeah. They can be
um,
tricky.
especially on a wicket it's probably got a little bit of demons in it. You never know. If you're looking at their results, I can't say what's the wicket or what,
Mm,
but I looked at the scorecards. It ain't too many people made runs, so
yeah, on both
either the
sides.
Berlin was good, or it was probably some bad shots from the batsman, or the wicket may have been um, still pre-season, early in the season. The wicket could have been playing a little slower too, so I don't know, but it's a good
You,
result for Rangers.
yeah, but you know what's interesting, Doc? You mentioned it, that a low score. So with Southampton Rangers all out for 134, some in the St. David's camp would have probably said, "Oh yeah, we'll get these runs. Don't worry about it." But then as wickets start to fall, the attitude doesn't change until you realize, because at one point they were 96 for 6. So they only needed 30 odd runs, right? With 4 wickets in hand. Then they find themselves 112 for 7, 122 for 8. Derek Brangman, the last recognized bats, out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, yeah.
So yeah,
And
even the Shaquille Robinson and C.J. Otterbridge to try and get them over the line, and it didn't work.
and there's our young players, you know. It's good that the young players are playing, but you know, pressure situations like that, it's got to be difficult for them, you know, especially after one of the senior players is not there with them or they're out.
Right.
Who's there to talk to them?
Mhm.
That's why sometimes you have to try to balance things out. You know, somebody should have stayed around with those younger players to help them in situations like that. Because trust me, you know, it's going to be sledging involved. It's going to be a lot of things that's good. You know, they're trying to win that game. So, you know, it sometimes, you know, you gotta. Those things work if you want to win games. I'm not saying that. Sledging's part of the game, but when you got a close game like that there, and you need to win,
Right.
all guns are blood, all guns are going. So you know, it's
you know,
just
the other important thing is the 2 senior players in the Southampton Rangers team did the business with the ball, and I say that because Dion Bull, 10 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 13. He had 51 dot balls. Gennaro Bull, 10 overs, 5 maidens, 3 for 8. He had 55 dot balls. Dion gave up 1 4 and 1 wide. Gennaro did not give up a boundary in any of his overs.
but maybe I'm trying to think. Maybe St. Davis. Yeah, maybe they had some strategy, whereas they was going to probably see their 2 best bowlers off, and then try to score off the other bowlers. Because if you look at the scorecard for the other bowlers, I saw 1 or 2 bowlers bowl 2 overs to give like 15 or 20 runs.
Yes.
So and then you got, you know, some other bowlers that were really tight in between the 2.
24.
Right. So I think maybe they was probably targeting the other bowlers and trying to play out Gennaro and Dion. But once you lose the wickets, right, and then as a senior batsman, sometimes, you know, you have to try to, I wouldn't say go after them, but try to pick up the singles, put away the bad ones. I'm sure there's guys, out of those 55 balls, it's got to be some bad balls in there. Or 50-something balls. It's got to be, come on, there's no way.
You got to try and keep rotating the strike.
You have to either rotate the strike, improvise, because once you start hitting the bowler, then they have to try something different. If they just gonna keep their block, and then they got a wicket, block, wicket, you ain't scoring no runs. So, and you're trying to go after the other bowlers, you know, sometimes that game plan don't work. That's the only way I'm seeing, you know, that could have happened. Maybe that was a game plan to target the other bowlers, being that they was chasing a low total. But you know, but hey, I don't know. That was a good result for Rangers, like I said.
Yeah, bouncing back. Let's take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk about that Somerset Willocuts match. We'll be right back.
featuring a range of remarkably effective household cleaning solutions made with ecologically sound ingredients and pleasing fragrances from Ecos, a company with over 50 years' experience producing plant-powered cleaning products. The founder was a veteran chemist in the cleaning products industry and started up Ecos as a response to the harsh chemicals he had routinely encountered. Try Ecos non-abrasive cream cleanser, vinegar window cleaner, and in spray bottles, Orange Plus and Parsley Plus cleaners, shower and floor cleaners, furniture polish, and stain and odor remover. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Welcome back. Well, Doc, Somerset were playing their first game of the season in week 3, having had their first match against St. George's called off, and then they could not field a team last week, and they were able to field a team this week. They would have felt good about scoring 231, but they couldn't defend it. For the third week in a row, Willicott's playing up at Somerset. The first time they didn't give up over 300 runs.
Yeah, that's another interesting result. But being in Somerset's first game,
Right.
it could have been, I wouldn't say match fitness, but game-wise, it was probably Willicott's has played 3 games, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they had they scored some big totals up there, even though they lost against St. George's in the other, they scored runs. So
Yes.
being that Somerset better for us to score 30, they probably felt comfortable, chasing down 230, being that they were scoring 200 almost every game they played.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like you said, Deontay got some runs, 60
Right.
something. But it would be interesting to see Somerset scorecard too, to see where they what bowlers they had, or because and the extras and drop catches or whatever.
In the Somerset inning, Willicott's gave up 29 wides. They gave up 39 extras, 29 wides. The first, I would say the first 5 batsmen, you had Christopher Douglas scoring 28. You had P. Card scoring 63. Jerez Eve got 18. L.J. Richardson 45. Greg Mabry 12. And then there was only one other person, Sheldon Caesar, in double figures because they lost a lot of wickets near the tail end. They were sitting comfortable at 216 for 6, and then all out for another 15 runs.
Is Jordan Silver playing?
He did not. He was not in today's team. He must be injured because he didn't play for Tough Dogs yesterday in the Central County as he's done in previous years. So I did see him at the game, but he did not take part, nor did he take part today. It looks like Greg Mabry was the captain for today. Just take a look at with Somerset's first game, they gave up 31 wides.
That's where they lost.
Yeah.
And we talk about this every week. I keep stressing. I know it's early in the season, but at this, it's at 50 overs you can't do that. You can't go lower that, and that's way too many in any type of cricket if you think about it. So
over, right there. Yeah, and runs scored off the wide balls. What do you do?
There's 5 extra overs.
Yeah. 5 extra overs there.
And this is, like I said, this is the first game.
Right.
So, whereas this is Willicott's third. But still, there's no excuse because, I'm sure Jeff will probably come up with something next week or this week with trying to cut down those extras
Right.
to make sure that that doesn't happen again. You know,
But you know what's funny, Doc? Because we talked about Willicotts chasing the big totals that they gave up against St. David's and then St. George's. They got to feel good about the fact that they're constantly making over 200 runs.
yeah,
But they just got to figure out how to stop giving up 200 runs.
too many runs. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if they're constantly making 200, you know, because they got over 200 against St. David's, they got over 200 against St. George's, and now they've gotten over 200 against Somerset and gotten a victory. So they could take some positive from their batting. They just need to limit the runs giving up
yeah,
that they're giving up. You know what I mean? So
Right.
if anything to work on, it's to cut down not just on the wides and the extra balls, it's to cut down on, you know, forcing teams to change up a little bit, because it looks like a lot of free scoring early in the team inning. I mean, Chris took his time, uncharacteristic. He faced 42 balls, got 28.
oh, yeah,
You know, Jirazi, 26 balls for 18. LJ, 46 balls for us, 45. You know, LJ hit no 4s and 3 6s.
Mm.
So it's those type of things that I think Willicotts would take, even with the win and those other 2 losses. They'll take that, you know, and feel good about themselves. Gracie James opening the bat. He's on a regular, you know, scoring. He scored 46. You know, we did see Deontay Darrell got 67 from 50, 4 4s and 5 6s. So, you know, you take those positives and you try to just build on those. So Willicotts now have a victory under their belt. Somerset a lot of work to do, but with today's results, it has opened everything wide up. No one's run away.
No, not at all. So it's going to be a long season right up to cup match of this 50 overs. And so, like I said, you can, like I said, it's going to be, I don't know. I really see it going right down to the wire to me.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's going to probably go on to the last game of the season, where this team might need to win to stay up, and the other team might win to, you know, to win the league or something like that.
Yeah.
It's probably just like in the football season between like it's Dennytown and PHC or something. Like that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a long 50 over season. Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, let's turn our attention to that first division. Exciting down at Wellington Oval, where Cleveland County beat PHC by those 3 wickets. I mean, PHC had the first score 100. What's that?
I thought that was our PHC.
It was?
I thought so.
Did they play our PHC?
I was under the impression.
Yes, they did. I'm sorry. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, PHC batting first.
I looked at the scorecard.
Yeah.
And that game was pretty interesting. It was close at time.
Yeah.
Cleveland was in some trouble. There was like 60 something for 4 or 5.
Right.
And
right.
and then they got that partnership between McCarthy and
And Makar Young.
McCall and Young. Yeah, that put them out of trouble. But so you know,
7, yeah. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was another interesting game. And what happened between Flats and Somerset Bridge?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, they were having internet problems up there, so that
Yeah.
one is still unknown at this time. Hopefully, we
Yeah.
can get it before we go off, because you know it just keeps the league tight. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you look at for PHC, they had, well, other than losing Dean Richards in that early 18 for 1, they then had a 80 odd or 70 odd run second wicket partnership, you know, with William Stanton scoring 34 and Kevin Lamb scoring 45.
Yeah.
So to kind of pull them out of a bit of trouble, but then they lost another wicket 3 runs later. 2 runs after that, they lost the 4th wicket. They put on a little stand. They got to 134 for 5, but then things started to fall regularly after that to get to the 201. I mean, if you look at the bowling, there was a Jelani Richardson 2 for 33, Qshai Darrell 2 for 32, You know, and again, if you look at the dot bowl scenario, Makai Youngbill, 10 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 32, but he had 44 dot bowls, giving up 1-4, but he would give up 4 wides. Richardson gave up 5 wides and 4 fours. They gave up quite a few wides in there. They gave up 24 wides in Cleveland in PHC's inning, and then in the Cleveland inning, some of these guys probably didn't want to face McGowan, who scored 91 over 47 bowls, 3 4s, 9 6s. You know, he had those 5 6s in the game last week against the under 19s. You know, looking at the Burling. You know, you talk about Jack Fishlock. He gave up 5 wides, 1 no ball, 3 6s, and 5 4s. You know, for his 68, but he got 2 wickets, 2 for 68. Darren Gibbons took 3 for 21. He had 35 dot balls, didn't give up any 4s, 2 6s, 1 wide, 1 no ball. You know, those are the type of things that, especially the no ball scenario, you got to try and concentrate on that. If you're struggling anywhere, don't give up any no balls. I mean, you know, you can get erratic sometimes, some wides, but a no ball sometimes, you know, when things are not going well, go by the umpire. You know, help your team out.
That's like a free hit too. So you know, it's you know, that could be costly. We're talking about your wides, but there's no balls like the free hits. That's another thing that's costly too. You know, especially when the game's tight. You know, situations like that. There, you know, you definitely want to build on a no ball when it's 10 runs needed and 1 wicket. You know, it's a lot of pressure on the builders too. So, but that's one thing. As a builder, you definitely need to make sure that, you know, you're not overstepping and you're not building wides in crucial stages of the game. And I see that happening a lot. But like I said, it's still early season. It's the 3rd game of the season. So I'm just going to say, Earl, I just hope that it changes. Because if you keep going on like this, a lot of teams are going to be losing because of that, you know. It's fine, and then when you got one team building 20 wides and the other team building 20 something, it's balancing itself up. But when you get one team that cuts that out, they're going to be the team to win that game. So, well, I'm sure the coaches, they're looking at the scorecards and they see that's what's happening. And I could guarantee you, in Bears' result today, I guarantee, even though the little boy Walker got 7 wickets, I could guarantee Gus Logan's making sure those guys are building to a game plan or outside or stump, top of or stump, and you could see that that's working for them, because a lot of those players, like the boy Walker, I think I know who he is. It's tall. I think that's right. I think it's Aaron Burgess' son. So he's got the height. You know, he's probably got a little pace. He's probably building a good line and lane, and that's all you need in preseason to build at these stumps. If batsman missed, he's out. So kudos to him. 7 wickets. That's a lot of wickets.
A lot of wickets, yeah. Well, let's take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk more about First Division results. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, you know, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Back in 1995, a pair of entrepreneurs working in their garage with essential oils began to realize the potential of organically produced body care products. Now, in a 56,000 square foot facility, EO products are shipping to millions worldwide, an inspiration to aspiring family businesses to be sure. EO products were the first in their field to follow the quality and safety guidelines established for organic foods in their production of high-end organic body care products. This month we're featuring EO Lemon Coconut Lotion. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, Doc, Western Stars went to Devonshire Rack for a second day in a row. We'll get to that Central County match yesterday, but they defeated Devonshire Recreation Club today by 6 wickets. Devonshire Recreation Club were all out for 193 with, Stars scoring 194 for 4. Rack betting first, they had Nkrumah Kennener scoring 53. Tariq Jennings scoring 35, and then a few others in double figures. Looking at their extras, they gave up 19 extras, 11 were wide. Not bad. And kept the runs down. I mean, they worked hard yesterday in doing the same thing, trying to keep those runs down. Brian Hall 2 for 32, Dante Wellman 4 for 34 off a 9, 1 maiden.
That's not bad, especially because Dante he didn't bowl yesterday. I think he bowled yesterday to come back to bowl today. So 4 for 30 something out there. It's probably good bowling 9 goals. And then Brian's always bowling pretty tight anyway. He's flying in length. That's like if you look at Devonshire Rack field. The width, you could score runs, but when you have to come to a game plan to build up Devonshire Rack. You got to try to build full till you hit the long boundaries. So I'm sure that Stars would have talked to the builders about that. Try to pitch the ball up, and let the batsman hit at the long side of the field.
Yeah.
So
looking at the Stars batting lineup, it reminds me of years going by. 3 members is fresh up. Gavin, Jay, Trey.
And Jaden, did Jaden play too?
Jaden got 16. He opened with Gavin.
Oh, okay.
Gavin got 21.
31?
21.
Oh, 21. Oh, okay.
21 love. Everybody knows Gavin as a tennis player, but he used to play cricket long before he played tennis, but took some time off to become the #1 tennis player in the island, and now he's back playing cricket, and it looks like he's enjoying it.
Yeah, he is enjoying it. He's doing a lot of tennis ball work. He's got that machine up South P. So it's got the guys going up there too to do some extra training, betting. So it is working out. I'm glad to see him back out playing.
Sure. I mean, in the reply, Brian Hall was 48 not out, and Dante Wellman was 44 not out. They shared a partnership, taking the score from 91 for 4 to 194, so 103 run partnership.
Oh, geez, that's good. Yeah. So Brian's been betting pretty good too. So it's good to see some of the other guys stepping up. Other than Trey and Kyrie, I think Kyrie Ferguson when we start, he's not a good batsman, but it's clear to see the other guys, chipping in and making some runs. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Kyrie was out for 3. Some days it works, some days it doesn't work. So just keep him going as much as you can. His lead team. So I think he has matured quite a bit in that role of captaincy that Stars has given it.
And I see his turns can come because like before I left, he's in the nets and he looked really good. But so I see a big score coming from him too.
He's got to be at the right time.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at now with yesterday's first division match. Of course, it was Devonshire Rack beating PHC by those 35 runs. Devonshire Rack at first they were all out for 100 and 131, 151. And Bill McKenna again yesterday he got 57.
Yeah.
8 fours and 1 6. Dubai Holman from PHC took 4 for 34. But PHC just couldn't get going in their inning. They were all out for 116. Kevin Lamb scoring 33. Dion Bowl picked up 6 wickets for 24 from 10 overs and 2 maidens to guide them to victory. So it was a day for Devonshire Rack. I mean, a victory yesterday, but can't get across the line today. It's unfortunate, but again, the same things happening. Nobody's running away.
Nope. I tell you, everybody's beaten. Nobody's putting the foot down and say, "Look, I'm the team you beat." Everybody's just beating.
Yeah.
It's crazy how the league's going. Like I said, it's first division, any Premier Division, teams are just beating each other.
Yeah.
So in any given day, you just can't say, "Oh, we're gonna get a result." If you go there thinking of that and you ain't come up for a game plan, well,
you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now you've played several central county matches. Now we have Tough Dogs in there. They played yesterday. Bedford were all out for 153. Stars would then make 157 for 2. Winning by just 8 wickets. And as we already said earlier, you had the likes of Trey and Treddy scoring 70 and 73 not out. But in Tough Dogs inning, they started off okay. I mean, they were at 68 for 1. And then what would you consider the bottom fell out? They had Trevor Cadet out for a duck after 3 balls. Kwame Tucker out for a duck after 1 ball. And then, they had a little stand with Devon Wade and Justin Pitcher, 18 and 22. But then Terrence Cadet out 2 balls, duck. Arnold out 9 balls, duck. Justin Barrett out 1 run for after 7 balls. Matt Fullerton 3 runs off of 18. And Justin Corday scored 7 from 9, but he was not out. Stars gave up 24 wides yesterday. 24 wides. Treddy 5.5, 4 for 22.
Yeah. So that's if you think about that again, that's still, that's 3 extra overs built. Then the run scored. So I'm telling you, every team's gonna have to work on that this season. Can't talk enough about it. It's definitely they need to start working to building to one side of the field and come up with a nice game plan. But man, there's gonna be times where if your best ball is gonna be hit, where you're gonna build. You can sometimes guys are running, and that's why they're building wide because they didn't know where to build. But the best thing is to do like this variation. It's a Yorker, top of a stump, and then if they hit that, they can't hit more. So, and if they do, so there's nothing else you do. You see that in T20, like some of the best builders get hit. So it's better than building a wide and an extra ball. So,
and believe it or not, I don't know if you saw the scorecard, but Stars were 2 wickets down.
For 0 runs.
2 runs, 2 for 2.
2 for 2. Yeah.
2 for 2. Kevin and were out in the same over, the first over.
Right. So so then I think with Treddy and Trey came in and stayed.
Yeah,
and
Treddy
stayed at the ship and then end up didn't lose no more wickets.
Right. Right.
You know,
But
that was.
it would have given Tough Dogs a lot of hope. You got two
Oh
legends
yeah,
back in the pavilion,
I,
and then they would
I'm,
have been thinking, if we can get
I'm
one of
sure.
these, we could then build around the other. So,
Mhm.
but not having that opportunity to
Mhm.
claim one of the, I guess the end was, the experience of trade, the experience of trading.
Yeah, I'm
No, I
sure
didn't.
they were thinking about that too. I'm
Mhm.
sure when they had him like that, they had Justin Pitcher in the side
Yeah,
too, and Justin, he had got one of the wickets too. So
yeah,
I'm
and they
sure they
always
was thinking
arrive.
about it. But
Mhm.
it's one of those things where at that stage they needed something, somebody to just build a steady line at both of them,
Right.
and then hopefully take their chances. So, but
Yeah, yeah. That's
it's
so true that anybody could beat anybody on a given day.
yeah,
Just who shows up on a day and who's ready
yeah,
to give it its all. It's one of those things where um, you just never know what mood somebody's going to show up in, and they could be all business today, and tomorrow couldn't get anything on target.
yeah. Well, that's cricket, isn't it?
Yeah,
You got to come with
yeah.
your A game
Each and
every
every day.
week,
Yeah,
every week.
yeah,
If not,
yeah,
you're gonna be, especially in overs competition, because somebody has to win. You
yes,
know,
yeah,
so somebody's got to be an well, it could be a tie, but you ain't get no draw. So, and most times, ties geez, that's like what, one in every 3 or 4 years you get a tie in the games. Yeah, but so that's why 50 over the 2020, it's so exciting.
yeah. It's interesting. I want to go back to that St. David's game because I was there for a while, and one of the things that I noted or was made noted of was Ricky wasn't present today for St. David's.
Oh,
So not having, I know it's the players on the field, but not having a coach to remind players of the rule that they need to play at certain times, and they could have used that experience from the sideline.
oh, yeah, that's exactly. Well, that's when one of the senior players in St. David's team should have, should have taken somebody like a OJ Pitcher, George O'Brien, Justin, all those senior guys. At that time, you got Ricky Brangman Jr. and
Darren
Darren.
Freeman.
Those are all senior players. One of those guys was to take over and say, "Look, this is how we're gonna do it." And I'm sure Ricky must have been somewhere sending text messages or messages to him.
Nobody wanted to send
I
him
know.
ball.
Yeah. So
You text him.
yeah, exactly. But sometimes I know it's good for the coach to be there, but sometimes you gotta, as captain and
Figure it
seniors, you gotta figure out things on your end sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of our overseas players who have shined this week, in week going by, as well as this weekend. We'll be right back.
Every month is snack month for us, it would seem, as long as they're the helpful, guilt-free, delectable snacks we crave. Enter the Daily Crave, a company whose first product was churros, the well-loved Spanish treat, followed by diversification in the form of classic puff snacks and chips. They ventured beyond the traditional list of ingredients. The grains are gone, replaced by lentils, pulses, and cassava, slaking our craving with a vegan-friendly, gluten-free snack that satisfies. This month, we're featuring the Daily Crave Quinoa Bourbon Barbecue Chips. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Welcome back. Well, Doc, Amari Eben, who scored 101 midweek for the University of South Wales, followed up today with a knock of 82 for Colbridge Cricket Club. He faced 104 balls, hit 8 fours opening the inning, and as well as Cameron Jeffers scoring 28. They won by 40 runs. They scored 199. They play a club called Mumbles Cricket Club. In the Mumbles inning, Cameron Jeffers finished with 5 for 23 over 8.4 overs. Just trying to do some steady stuff. I know he's working extremely hard on his bowling. Earlier in the season, he was batting well, and it looks like now he's concentrating, moving his attention to bowling. And both of those players are in the Bermuda team.
Yeah, good addition. Out there playing at a little more cricket than in Bermuda, because those guys are playing sometimes 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I've been watching the stats. I wanted to get on there to see in the first game, but now they'll be leaving to go Bermuda. So that's good because, like I said, Amari's now started making some runs, which is good. And Cameron was always making runs and taking wickets. It's kind of like an all-round. And like you said, he works hard at his game. I was training him a bit in the national team and the under 19 years ago. And he's a very dedicated player. He's always willing to learn, listen, so I could see him doing really well with the national team in years to come, both of them.
Yeah, the only thing is they're playing a lot of cricket in the UK. The African conditions are a little different. Hopefully they get a chance to quickly adjust to that, where the flight of the ball is going to be a little different. The wickets are going to be a little different because of the temperature and so forth. So that's going to take some adjusting. Hopefully they get that opportunity to adjust really, really quick, because that's going to be key.
I think they should, because I think they got. I'm looking at the itinerary that they got some practice games there, so they're going to have to adjust quickly. I think they would. I don't know how the wickets are playing over in the Uganda, but from previous years, what I heard, I think the grounds are really good over there, and the wickets are a little slow spinners. So Cameron might do pretty good out there. And if that is true, I think a lot of our batsmen, will need to try to use their feet with the spin, or either back or forth. So they will probably have to do the homework on most of the Berlins from all the teams that are in that tournament out there.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. We also had young Brianna Ray, who we discussed before. She played for Loughborough University, the women's team. She took 2 for 31 off of 5 overs. Unfortunately, they lost, but the fact that she's playing regularly as well, it's encouraging.
Oh yeah, and she's playing at a very high level. She's I think she was also picked for Lancashire for the as a steppion player, meaning like if anything happens, they can be picked. It's like a startup player. So she's got one foot in the door as being a professional. So that's good for women's cricket in Bermuda. And hopefully she makes it at that level. She's got all the temperament. I'm seeing some videos of her, and she's getting better and better each game, and each even the training. Some of the training I'm seeing her doing, she's even getting a little yard quicker, even bowling. And batting wise, she's got a very good technique. So she's doing some great things.
Yeah, and we look at, of course, Dalray playing for Sussex, the Sharks. They're in the Vitality Blast. He hasn't had that big score yet, but what he has been able to do is bowl very tight, claiming some important wickets. They've won 3 games in a row. His just missing that one big knock, that confidence big knock, which I think is coming. It's coming.
I saw him. He played last night. I saw his game last night, and
Right.
he was just starting to look good.
Mhm.
And you know, he was hitting the ball clean and sweet. Then unfortunately, he got run out on
Right.
31 against
Yeah.
Hampshire.
Yes.
And you know, he was just it's been very unlucky, to tell you the truth,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
all the games that has been I'm seeing, most of the games I've been watching, he's been coming in as like 5 or 6 overs left.
Right.
So
Right.
right away, he don't even have time to play South End. He's got to
Mhm.
come in and try to muscle the ball, and it's, you know, and he's one of the bigger players to come in to hit the ball. So he don't even have the time to play South End. You know, he's
Right.
got last night, prime example, when he came in, they was needing like 14 or 15 runs and over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was betting with one of the batsmen from New Zealand.
Yeah. Yeah. He got
And
100. Yeah.
yes, so and at that time trust me, they was on target. They
Mhm.
were scoring
They went
14
from,
to
yeah, they went from 61 for 4 after 10.4 was
yeah,
when that was cut out on 131.
like
It was
for
10.2
exactly.
in 6
And he
overs.
right, and still had 5 overs left, and I was like, they could still do this. But as soon as I saw Delray tried to take that 2 and got run off, I was like, oh, no,
Mhm.
this. And
And it was
but
funny because the
but
last game he got run out as well.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
been unlucky. But it's still been really good. Yesterday's game, he gave up a few runs.
Right. Right.
I think he built 2 for 20 something. But normally he's been building really tight. The beginning, the bill's open and building, and you know, keeps your runs on, gets an early wicket.
And McDermott went right after him right from the start. I mean,
Yeah,
they were
so
the guys. They put on 124 for the first wicket in 11 overs.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, his I think his do a beat score. His beat score was coming. I thought it was last night. Now, unfortunately, he got run out. But yeah, that's a big asset in the team. His fielding, you know, he's quick on the boundaries, takes some good catches. So like I said, there's a good all rounder for Sussex, and just waiting for that real big total is coming. So I don't know, man, but Sussex had won 3 in a row until last night. So I still think they in that playoff. I still think they'll make the playoffs for the T20 semifinals and quarterfinals.
In a row. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of getting to that quarterfinals, and anything
Yeah.
can happen. Yeah.
Exactly.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Just like amateurs, professionals do the same thing. When their confidence is there, you know, a lot of different things happen. So
Yeah.
Well, last week we picked OJ Pitcher as the Player of the Week, and this was the presentation for Week 2 Player of the Week. Well, congratulations to OJ Pitcher, the Week 2 Gosling's Player of the Week. Good knock with the bat, took some vital wickets as well, and a brilliant catch against Bailey's Bay to be named the Player of the Week. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you, Errol. I also like to thank Goslings for sponsoring this award and giving the players an incentive and, you know, something to look forward to every week. So once again, thank you. It was a good team performance overall. You know, obviously individuals have to perform on the day, but the most important thing is the team became successful. You know, we had a good start to the season, so we must continue on.
Okay, congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
So Doc, we've talked about some outstanding performances this week. You know, we've had our conversations. Who would you we want to throw in the 2 people that we kind of came down to? Of course, one was Walker from Bailey's Bay, the 7 wickets, and of course the young Dante Wellman from Western Stars, 40 odd not out, 4 wickets. But out of the 2, who stands out?
I probably have to give it to Macau Walker. 7 wickets is not an easy task, against a strong opposition like St George's, who's probably one of the strongest teams in the league this year if you look at them on paper. So and to get 7 for 35 and ahead of the first 5 of the frontline batsmen out, definitely had to give it to him.
Okay, so and I totally agree as well. So the week 3 player of the week is Mikael Walker from Bailey's Bay, claiming 7 wickets for 38 runs, 10 overs, 2 maidens. Again, congratulations, for them. I mean, picking up a big win as well. Moving onward and upward for them, because now their confidence will be high going into their next game as well.
Yeah, Bailey's Bay is it's a team that it's I think it's everybody, because of the players that left this year. Everybody. I didn't think people was counting them out,
Right.
but with 3 of the senior players leaving, some people had them down for going on, but once I found out Gus Logie and Irvin Romain was taking over down there, and director of cricket and coaching, right away said, well, that's gonna work good for them, because they still got young players down there.
Sure.
They got some good young players down there, and with the proper training and coaching, they're gonna be a team to reckon with this year too.
Interestingly enough, the 3 senior players that left and went to St. George's, Rodney Trott, Sinclair Smith, and Zico Burgess, combined, they only scored 6 runs, and those 6 runs were from Zico. Rodney was out without scoring, Sinclair was out without scoring, and Zico had 6 against their former teammates. Making it very...
Yeah, they had a game plan for them. Yeah, but those guys play with Rodney every week. They know Rodney. I'm sure Stephen and Irvin and the rest of the players, they probably exactly know where to build to Irvin. To Rodney and Sinclair. So and once you do that, and they can't score.
Well, looking at the weekend coming up, obviously it's Central County again. Western Stars are going to play Devonshire Rec at Devonshire Rec. That's on Saturday. The under 19s probably will not play because they were due to play Western Stars on Saturday as well. But Western Stars have that Central County match. On Sunday, some interesting matchups. Somerset are home to Bailey's Bay. Rangers are home to Willicots. St. George's are home to St. David's. You have those rivalries of St. George's, St. David's. Both teams are coming off a big loss this week. Rangers are going to want to continue that vein, as well as Willicots. Willicots picked up a vital win, so those two be hungry to try. And then of course Somerset's going to want to try to get things right this time around. But Bailey's Bay, as you've already indicated, they're not no slouches.
No, that's going to be a good matchup again. And like I said, that game could go anywhere too. You can't count out Somerset. Hopefully Jordan will be back. That will strengthen the team a bit. I know they got a few more youngsters overseas, but I don't know they will be back. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, and also the Eastern Derby too between St. George's and St. Davis. That's going to be another one. So of course Rangers and Willicots too. That's like a derby too. They play in the Western Conference too, so they know each other in and out. Right. So this next weekend is going to be very interesting.
And some interesting matchups in the first division. You got a Warwick rivalry because PHC are playing Warwick at PHC. Flats, Eastern County battle. Flats are playing Cleveland down at St. David's. And then Devonshire Rec are playing Somerset Bridge at Devonshire Rec.
Right.
Interesting matches in that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you want to win the league, you have to start somewhere, and you got to beat those teams. So, and like I say, it's still early in the season, so but it's always good to get your points early.
Yeah, once you got them, they can't take them back from you.
Exactly. So I know it's still like we all talk about preseason, but you got to get your points now
Mhm.
because you never know what's gonna happen
Donnie
towards
Ray.
the end. The really nice thing about in the next couple of weeks, you got in June you probably have teams doing cup match trials. You have the Central Conference will be finished. You probably have the Western Conference starting, then the Eastern Conference. So it's going to be a lot of games on, and
Mhm.
then you probably have a lot of the overseas players back too to strengthen the teams too. So
Yeah,
if some teams that are already got points, and then when the overseas player come back, they're going to be in a good position
sure,
for winning the league.
sure. Well, again, thank you very much, Doc. We'll be back next week with another edition, and looking forward to those interesting matchups because nothing beats a little rivalry, mate. Nothing beats a little rivalry. Everybody gets up
Exactly. So,
from the fans to the fans.
and like you said, next week we're going to have that. So we'll be interested. Some interesting games next week.
Sure. All right, mate. Well, you enjoy the rest of your night. Folks, we'll be back
All right,
next
then.
week, Sunday, with another edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. Have a good night.